Hello and welcome to the Plutus IAS. I am Rajesh Kumar. Taking some important topics related to public administration and general GS. Today we will be discussing about some theoretical issues and how it could be connected to the current affairs. Like that, we have been facing the situation in terms of the governance is that of good governance. So good governance is a vogue subject in administration always. So in terms of good governance, which came into developed countries in 80s and in India 90s, but even after in 2000s, with the some deficits in good governance, while it was practicing, some new theories came into existence in terms of public services approach and digital era governance. Right. So both the theories have come in 2000s and over which questions in UPSC have already been asked. Since 11 years have been passed, we have started digital governance in India and we are celebrating the success of digital governance. So it is quite evident that the question will also be repeating in UPSC MAINS this year regarding the digital era governance and even regarding the public services approach in public administration. First of all, in basics, we'll see why public service approach was needed in public administration. During the good governance era, there was more focus on market-led tool and techniques to be introduced in government sector. There was more focus on how these market-based tools could better be implied to get better outcome to the organization. Although accountability, responsibility were important words in good governance also, but with the execution of good governance, there are so many problems came, hence public services approach was required to be introduced. And it was the Denhard and Denhard who has first of all said about Denhard and Denhard who has first of all said about public services approach, right? What the public service approach is saying? It is again reintroducing democratic concern to the organization. Service approach, public service is there, so service approach. Here, administration is required to be working to serve the citizen. Not public servant is treated as as a servant working for the from one side to execute the order made by the government and for the citizen. Rather, service approach makes administration closer to the citizen, right? Then again some kind of dialogue was there to be promoted through this theory between citizen and administration. more democratic, more participative, more bottom up approach was there, right? And participation was also there. Then see, this is about public service approach. Another one theory came in 2000 as digital era governance, right? Digital era governance. In this digital era governance, you are already aware about that. While we are even in India, it was introduced with internet facility, access of internet, then digital infrastructure, then what you say, digital public services, then what you say, like that, digital connectivity, use of ICT, right? Then you have data driven government is there. Means to say, whatever the data presented by the different research organization, accordingly government will target the particular community or beneficiaries to have the access of government schemes through the digital technology, by introducing DBT, by introducing other kind of facility to have the direct access of the scheme to the common people, right? So these are the two important development taking place in 2000s. Following to that, we have also introduced in India also, because these are the developments of, see, Western countries, but it was also introduced in India as digital era government, or what you say, digital governance, and see some kind of public service approach was also there required in terms of government, which was more becoming responsive to the common citizen. In place of responsible, to be responsible, it is trying to become more responsive by having such kind of, not only the scheme, but also the scheme was tried to be implemented how it could be taken as beneficial, or it was appearing as a beneficial to the common citizen, right? So in that term, although in 2005 we have introduced, see, BBG Ramji, sorry, in place of BB Ramji earlier it was Manrega. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. It was providing some kind of right to individual to have the 100 days of work. It was demand based and tried to give the, see, such kind of job opportunity by having different type of schemes introduced at the village level in participation with Gram Sabha, Gram Panchayat and village and blocks, right? Basically you can say about the Manrega, what it is saying about. Now how we could connect, since this is the class of value addition, so how we can connect this scheme with public service approach and digital era governance. Since this scheme contains from one side the basic characteristics of digital era governance, while we have introduced, since yesterday we have introduced a new form of, see, MG Narega as BBG Ramji, Viksit Bharat Gramin Rozgar Gramin Ajivika Mission, like that scheme is there introduced. That is a revamped scheme of earlier Manrega, right? What the important changes are there, that is another type of discussion, but as a whole, what things are there in G Ramji, how it what you say, reconcile the drawbacks of Manrega and it is towards the establishment of digital era governance. See, it has introduced what you say, geotagging. Now, whatever the work would be done at the panchayat level would be tagged, and the state and panchayat has got the responsibility to upload such kind of developments to the what you say, portal, and through which central government or higher authority can see what the development occurs at that particular village level. Earlier the problem was there because of the absence of such kind of things. Papers, see, works were only done at paper. Only accounting functions were there happening. Now, another one change was there. See, data driven approach is there in BB Jiramji. See, now whatever the data will be provided from the village or from the state would be taken by the central government, and accordingly fund would be released to the state, and all the facility would be provided in terms of what you say, digital system. Hence, there is less chance of leakage and accountability problem. Then, if you see these things in terms of what you say, how it is establishing about the public service approach in the governance. Since earlier panchayat was also there in Manrega also, Gram Sabha was also there, social audit was also there. So, social audit was establishing the fact that participation of people could be possible better. You know what the social audit is? Social audit used to say RTI plus public hearing in short. Then dialogue, there is possibility of dialogue at the panchayat level and Gram Sabha level. Since Gram Sabha is the having with normal persons membership, while panchayat is taken as executive of Gram Sabha. So the responsibility is to have the deliberation at Gram Sabha level and then what do you say, policy making at panchayat. But in practice, what is happening and how public service approach is even not following through the scheme, and what is required to be made in terms of way forward is that in recent report of what you say, conference of rural ministers at Delhi, some report was released while we are also studying about things have come across the newspaper that in place of active participation of common people, peoples are normally reluctant to participate in the Gram Sabha. Earlier was also such kind of situation, but now with the development of app type of things, they are not intended to come for active or physical participation, what is required in vibrant democracy. Another one thing is that since there is no any active role of Gram Sabha, because representatives of the panchayat have already taken all about the programs or what the scheme or the component of scheme or what the actual work would be performed at the village level, what is required at the village level, what the type of functions required like infrastructure making, either building making or what you say some kind of bonds, restructuring, those kind of things already there in the scheme. Since in BVG Ramji, a particular type of scheme is there, would be made from the side of what you say Gram Panchayat, or even at the consent of Gram Sabha. But they are only what you say supposed to be based on paperwork. What the earlier report is saying, what would be happening in future, the only time will tell. But presently what happens, it has only become a paper tiger, right? Then some, because of the app like things, people are not actively participating. So such kind of challenges are there with public service approach to be better implemented. Another thing is there, participation of public could also be impacted while any state government is reluctant to execute the scheme. Since we have earlier West Bengal government, we have earlier Kerala government, which was not interested to implement the Manrega scheme with open mind. Only half-hearted approach was there. Even in some states it was rejected. Because of such kind of situation, you can see there was center-state relationship becomes what you say asymmetric. And now with new provision that state government has got more responsibility than to earlier scheme, in the term that if any employment is not being provided by the Gram Sabha to the particular labor on given time, then penalty would also be required to be paid. And if employment is even not being provided, then even wages in terms of what you say penalty would also be required to be paid by the state government itself. That would be not paid by the central government, right? Earlier it was the responsibility of central government, while in case of 75 to 25 ratio in materials, the things are same, that if any assets are being made, then 75% of that expenditure of material would be provided by central government and 25 from the state. Then what you say, in terms of non-skilled wages payment, 100% contribution would be made from the side of center. Hence, now it has become contentious issue that how the state government, where there is different party in government than to center, will cooperate in terms of the scheme. When it comes to the scheme, basic characteristic of the scheme to be changed, like what you say compensation payment or delay payment, like that would require, since now it has become the responsibility of the state to pay the laborers. Then other responsibilities are also there, which is not required to be discussed here. Even I have gone through the article today that Supreme Court, in a particular case of the tribunal, saying that digital governance is now penetrating to the extent even in judiciary, that it has become like methyl isocyanide of Bhopal gas tragedy. So Supreme Court has strongly condemned about the use of digital AI in judiciary system. So these are also some kind of limitation to digital era governance, where we are say frequently using internet and other things. Then see, exclusive or exclusion principles are there attached with digital era governance, where if Manrega see laborers are, since they are working 24/7 at the field or any such kind of, or you can say round the clock they are working in open sky. So what about their skin? Their skin would be not in a situation to give the information about their fingerprint, always be corresponding to the earlier fingerprint. उसका स्किन जो है वो कलर वगैरह चेंज होता रहता है, तो वो उसी टाइप का इंडिकेशन नहीं दे पाएगा. So exclusion errors are there. So then last mile, what you say, exclusion was there already. Digital divide was there also. So such kind of connectivity problem is there, challenging in terms of digital era governance. But the core of this question or the topic was to how the public service approach and digital era governance is converging at the level of this scheme BB Jiramji. Now your task is to go through the any scheme when it comes to the newspaper and how you can connect these information while answering your question. And see, always keep in your mind that only collection of information would not be useful. Rather, it could be better used in terms of theoretical contribution. Like that, if you are a student of public administration, while writing any questions of public administration second paper, you must be using some theoretical contribution. Like if you are using or analyzing BBG Ramji as it is based upon public service approach and digital era governance, then who has given or proposed this governance in terms of bracket you can mention at least, so that you would be reflected as a student of public administration and you have the strong command over theoretical aspect of the subject also. So this is all about the discussion for today. We'll meet again for further discussion. Thank you.